All right, what is going on, everybody? For today's quick video, I'm going to do a tool review on some of my Milwaukee 12-volt tools. I just have one other 12-volt tool. It's a stapler, but I can go over that in a separate video because it doesn't really fit with these guys. So what I have here is my 12-volt impact, 12-volt drill. This is just a regular 2-speed drill, and then my 12-volt Milwaukee Fuel Installation Driver that I got for Christmas a couple years ago now. So I've used this quite a bit. As you can see, it's actually got more use than these two, and I've had these for like 4 years. I'm just going to kind of go over everything and why I have them and why I like using them more than my 18-volt stuff. So I bought these in a kit, probably 2-3 years ago, and it came with, I think it came with two of these 2 amp hour batteries, and I think those batteries either died or I have them somewhere else laying around. But I know these 2 batteries that are out here, these 2 small ones, came with this guy, and then I also have some 3 amp hour batteries that I've shown you in some other videos. I have these that I bought separate, or maybe one of these came with the kit here, I'm not sure. Anyways, so I bought these as a kit on like a Black Friday deal or something like that, where it was buy them both with the bag and everything. It was like $100, and I really like using these for around the house and stuff like that, just because they're super light, they're small, you can get into smaller places with them, and for most kind of at-home type stuff, that's more than capable to do whatever you need to do, whether it's, you know, drilling a hole in the wall to hang a picture, or even like doing like a door. If you wanted to drill a hole in the door, you could probably do it with this. I haven't had to do it with this, but I'm sure it's got enough power to do it. This little impact is perfect for putting screws into projects. For instance, like this little workbench, it's got these construction screws in it. They're like, I think they're like 3 inches long, 3.5 inches long, and I use this to put it together. I have no issues. And if you were to kind of put on a scale of things, so these are the brushed, these are like the base model impacts and drill drivers that I have, except for this one. This one's the fuel. So these are the very kind of low end tier of the Milwaukee stuff. So Milwaukee, and I think most tool brands kind of have a multi-tiered system with their stuff. So in Milwaukee's case, they have your brush, which is your base model drill, your cheapest drill you can buy, and then they have a brushless, and then they have their fuel, which is their kind of their high end. So that's brushless, and it has some extra stuff on the computer to make it more efficient and give you more power when you're using a battery. So these are base model drill, brush. This is the high end brushless, newer version of basically this and some other features. But like I said, this little impact is awesome. I use it all the time. I've used it to work on trucks and stuff like that, putting on bolts, taking off lug. I mean, it won't take off a lug nut, but if you break it loose with a breaker bar and you put the socket adapter on there, this has got more than enough power to pull them off and get them on close to being tight, and then you just finish it off with a torque wrench or a breaker bar again. And like I said, it's super small and easy to get around and get up in there, do stuff like that, or working underneath vehicles. This is really handy. And then this drill, moving on to this drill, I use this a lot when I'm doing pocket holes, just because I can put the bit in there. It's small, it's light, it's not super heavy compared to my 18-volt with a 5 amp hour battery. It's a lot of weight, and like these little 2 amp hour batteries last me long enough to where I could get my projects done no problem. So that's why I like using this 12-volt stuff. And then moving on to by far my favorite Milwaukee tool that I have is this Milwaukee Fuel Installation Driver. And what makes it by far my favorite drill is the fact that it's got these different attachments to it. So as you can see, it's got 4 different heads, but you can also use this without any heads on it. So if I take a bit off, I can put it in there and it'll run that bit no different than a regular kind of impact quick attach system. And the nice thing about this is it just slides in and out. There's no chuck. You don't have to fiddle with this or do anything like that. You don't have to spin the chuck or anything like that. It's just simple pull in, pull out, which is nice if you're doing something where you need to change your bits, like if you're drilling holes, like a pilot hole, and then you're wanting to screw something in, instead of having, you know, in like kind of an older case where you'd have either both of these tools out or have like your drill out or your impact out, or you're having to constantly switch out bits and pull in this collar back and forth every time you switch bits. You could have your drill bit in there, and then when you go to want to put your screw in, all you gotta do is just pull your bit out, throw this guy in. Super simple. Put your screw in or your bolt, whatever you're doing, and then you can swap them back out. And the other nice feature is it has this little magnetic tray bit holder here, and you can hold about 4 bits there, or you could put your, you know, you have your bit in there and then have your screws or whatever you're using to put your, or whatever you're putting in your item or your project. It'll hold a handful of items here, which is nice. I usually just leave bits in here because if I'm doing something like on the workbench or whatever, I'll have screws in my pouch on my tool bag, or just in my pocket or in the cup or whatever. The one thing I don't really like about this is the directional change. It's just this button on top, which you get used to it once you use the tool enough, just like anything else. And Milwaukee seems like they're switching to this on a lot of their 12-volt stuff. I know some of their, I think their other impacts and like their, I think they make like a compact impact gun that has the same kind of deal where it's got a button to change. They might not be changing directions, but different modes. So when you're using it, you got to use it either with your thumb or with your finger. But like I said, you get kind of used to it, and you tend to kind of use it like this, where you have your pointer finger kind of guiding the drill, and you're using your middle finger to operate the trigger. And I find that since I've been having this around, I do that on all my other tools as well, where I'm left-handed, so I'll tend to grab my drills like this, just because I've been using this so much that it's just kind of a habit where I now grab it like this instead. But moving on to the kind of the nice feature with this drill is these different attachments. So all these different attachments attach with this little collar, kind of similar to the way these operate, where you pull out on a collar and then it releases the bit or whatever you got in there, and you can swap it out quick. It's the same deal here, where you pull back on this collar and then you put it on. Let's see if I can do this. And there, and then that's on. And then, so like this one's a 90 degree, and then you could put any one of these on there, or you could just run it just like that with the straight shaft. You don't have to put any of these other attachments on there. One really handy tool that comes with this, and one main reason I wanted it, was this offset attachment. So if I put this on, if we can get it on, there we go. So now that I got this on, as you can see, it makes it so your bit is above the top of the tool, and you can adjust this into like 16 different positions, I think, rotate it around. So you could have it off to the side, to top, you know, either side you want, or even below if for some reason you want it like that. But where this comes in super handy is, for instance, like this. So when I was putting this cabinet together, this little shelf for my drill bits, or not my drill bits, my drills and batteries and chargers. If you can see right there, there's a screw. Well, the only way for me to get that screw in, because I had this all made up and then I hung it on the wall, the only way to get that screw in easily was to use this offset. So all I did was I just threw my bit in the edge here, or in this socket here, and I just went in like this, like normal, and then just drove it in. I mean, I actually had it like this, but I mean, you just drive it in, no problem. Keeps your hands out of the way. You're not trying to put it in at an angle. You can get it in nice and straight, which is nice. So it's a really handy feature, and that's kind of one of the big selling points for this tool, just because it's kind of meant as almost like a cabinetry tool, and its main, I guess its two main competitors on the market right now are the Bosch 12 volt. I think it's like a Flexi Click or something similar to that. It's almost identical to this, except the Bosch looks more kind of like the Milwaukee, like these ones are more standard pistol grip style. It doesn't have this kind of forward hand grip here, but it operates under the kind of the same principle of just a quick connect collar, and looks kind of the same. And then the other more expensive version is the Festool system, and it has the same adapters. It's got your regular kind of impact socket adapter, drill, chuck, an offset, and then a 90-degree. The one thing though is I think I feel like the Milwaukee stuff is a little bit higher quality than what you get with the Festool, because the videos that I've seen of people using the Festool version of this, it seems like a lot of their attachments are really plasticky. Like for this plastic piece here is, you know, this is all plastic, but the actual working components of it are all metal. Even the kind of bracket here, or plate that it connects to, and even like this chuck, this is a fully metal chuck, and the only thing plastic is this little collar that helps you connect and disconnect from the drill. So it seems like this will hold up a lot better than the Festool stuff will, and it's a lot cheaper. And I think at the time when this first came out, this when I got it, this was like $279 for the kit. So that gets you, that was the drill, all 4 different heads, 2 batteries, this tool bag, and then a 12 volt charger, not the multi-charger like I have up there where it charges 18 and 12. It was just a 12 volt charger. But this bag is really nice because you can, you know, it's got slots pre-set up for all your different heads. It's got 2 little kind of cubby holes to hold your batteries, and then straps to hold down your drill and your charger, so it's all kind of nice, neatly compact in here. So if you're a mobile guy, like if you're a good person that would like to have this, or would work well, I think, would be somebody who does installations of like cabinets, or like a handyman type situation where you're going into houses and doing nothing real, no serious remodels, just little things like maybe doing like a smoke detector, or you know, electrical or something small, or even like door installs and stuff like that, where you don't really need an 18 volt drill and you don't want to carry that around with you. So something small like this that's versatile, where you can have the ability to carry a couple bits on the drill itself, be able to quickly swap things out. Because like for what I do in the garage here, as you can see, I keep 3 different bits. So I have this square nose bit, which is for all my Craig jig socket or drill, not drills, my Craig screws. A regular, I think it's a Phillips number 2 bit, and then a I think it's T25 star drive. Because like a lot of the construction screws that I get, like what are in this bench, are T25s, and I like to use those for projects just because the star drives work a lot better than regular Phillips. So I have all 3 of those bits on this drill at all times, so I'm not having to constantly hunt down where the bit is, or constantly run back and forth to my bench to find the right bit. I just have it here and it sits there all the time. So whenever I need it, I just swap it out, no problem. Versus in the past when I was using this little guy, there's nowhere to hold a bit anywhere like there is on the 18 volts, where you can put a bit on the front where the battery connects. On these smaller 12 volts, there's no battery, or there's no bit holder. I think you can buy almost like a bit sleeve that goes over the top of the drill. I've seen them for DeWalt's, and I think they make them for all the other tool brands, so Milwaukee, Makita, Festool, all them, where it's basically like a little sleeve that kind of clips over the top, and then it has slots on the side where you can put your bits into. I'm just not sure how. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a 12 volt, because the whole purpose of a 12 volt is that smaller profile. So having something like that like I said, it defeats the purpose of having a small profile drill. Versus with this one, having those bits in the front, it doesn't make it wider or anything like that, and it's just nice to have it there. I think this about covers everything. And oh, the last thing I was gonna go over was a lot of people that I've seen review this drill, they like to complain about the grip just because of the battery style. So with these kind of more pistol like batteries or magazine type batteries, since it goes into the handle, naturally the handle has to be wider to kind of make up for that space, versus like the DeWalt's or even like the regular Milwaukee excuse me, the regular Milwaukee 18 volt, the handle's a lot thinner. And I find, especially with this one, since your hand is naturally going to be a lot higher up, you don't really notice the thicker grip. And even if you are using it like normal with your finger on the trigger and everything, to me it doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, I've got some pretty decent sized hands, so it's not too bad for me, but I'm sure if you had smaller hands or a little bit meatier fingers, it might be a bit of a pain just to grip this. But it's got a good rubber over molding. Like I said, I've had both of these drills for a few years. I haven't noticed anything peeling off yet. I'm sure if I use it more and more, they'll start to flake off and all that, but everything's holding up good, quality's good. And if I was gonna recommend somebody buy one tool to have as like a homeowner, I'd recommend this guy. It's a little bit more expensive than buying this, but at the same time, for the price that you're getting for this, you're getting all those different attachments, which will make your life a lot easier. You're getting 2 of the 2 amp hour batteries, you're getting the charger, you're getting a little storage bag, which is really convenient, and you're getting the high-end Milwaukee fuel tool, which on its own is really nice. I mean, if you were to compare it to a 12 volt version of just a regular drill, like a hammer drill of the 12 volt, I think that bare tool is like 160, 180 bucks probably. So if you can get a kit, 2 batteries, all the attachments, bag, charger, all that jazz for probably $200, 250 bucks, whatever it is right now, or at the time that you're watching this video or you're shopping for it, it's not a bad deal. And it gives you that versatility without taking up that much space. Because for power wise, this 12 volt is just barely behind an 18 volt drill. So if I grab, this is the hammer drill from Milwaukee. This is a brushed hammer drill. So if I pull this out and kind of line them up here. So here's the base model 12 volt brushed. Here's the high end 12 volt brushless. And then here's I guess it's not really a base, but it's like a mid high end brushed Milwaukee drill. So this is a hammer drill from Milwaukee. I've had this for about 5 years, and this I've noticed is just barely under this. It's not much. Like you notice it if you're doing a lot of drilling or bigger holes and stuff like that. You'll notice that this doesn't have quite the amount of power as this 18 volt does. But for most homeowner use, this is your guy that you want, just because it's light, it's small, the price is there, and the amount of options you get with it is what you're really looking for. But that'll do it for this video on my 12 volt stuff, and I'll do a video on the 2 18 volts that I have, so the impact and this hammer drill later. And then I also can go over that stapler, and I guess I can go over my little vacuum too. I'll do those two together, the stapler and the vacuum, because they're smaller tools. I don't use them as much, but it's something. But that's all I got for you today. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.